What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And today we're getting into the actual fees that Indiegogo charges in order to run a successful campaign. Kind of what is comprised of that. What are some of the differences there? What are some of the things that you should be aware of? Trying to keep it a no-nonsense fashion. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and it's coming up right after this. Okay, so let's hop right into it. So first of all, if you haven't yet, you should go and check out Indiegogo. They are Kickstarter's competitor. They're really interesting, have very interesting categories as well when it comes to hardware, technology, and design. They also have a lot of different functionality as compared to Kickstarter. So you should begin to become accustomed and aware of how this website works, how it functions, and sort of just like in general, the browsing experience. I think that's actually really important. Also looking at the mobile app would be great. So that being said, let's first start talking about what are the fees that you're going to expect or experience when you're launching a campaign on Indiegogo. So first thing I want you to do is to come here to Indiegogo, support.indiegogo.com. And if you want to, you could Google this, or I can maybe get my assistant to include the link in the description here. But when it comes here, this is really going to vary depending on your campaign type, okay? And also based on your location. Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about locations. So you can come here and you can see that the fee is comprised of basically a platform fee and also credit card or payment processing fees that are based on the actual processor that they're using. Okay, so there's always going to be a platform fee. And if you're doing a traditional campaign on Indiegogo, it's going to be 5% fee. And they've actually changed this over the years, so it wasn't always the case. They had different times when they charged different for different types of funding. But it's a 5% platform fee on all funds raised from your campaign. And another good distinction here is that it's from the funds that you actually raise, right? Not the goal that you set, which is, I think, is actually a really interesting distinction there. So after that 5% fee is assessed, there's also going to be these transaction fees, which come based on the actual place where you're creating the project from. So again, this is specified with a U.S. bank account. So you might be a business, for example, running a campaign in the United States, right? So there's also these other ones. So I'll let you kind of look through this a little bit on your own time. But a traditional one for the U.S. will be 3% plus 20 cents per pledge or per transaction there. And then there's no transfer fee. If you're going outside the United States, all of a sudden you begin to be hit with some of these transfer fees. Unfortunately, just kind of the case. And those kind of percentages, for example, Japan, 4.4, right? This is going to vary depending on where it is that you're launching this from. And I also urge you as well to look at some of the other asterisks here when it comes to this page. This thing, for example, of your specific country, how is the actual transaction in your bank going to be different? How is that going to affect how much you're funding? Those kinds of things. The other big distinction here is the type of funding that you are doing. Okay, so first of all, there are two types of funding, and there's fixed funding and flexible funding. You can kind of learn more about this on the actual website. I also have a great video out there on YouTube. So first of all, when it comes to fixed or flexible funding, what is the difference? So flexible funding is when you can raise, let's say you run a campaign, a $10,000 funding amount you're trying to get, so $10,000 funding goal. With flexible funding, if you only raise $5,000, you will be able to keep the funds which you have raised, which is pretty cool. So even if you don't hit your goal, you're able to keep the funds that you've raised. And then the condition of being the payment processing fees and the platform fees will kick in, okay? If you're doing a fixed funding campaign, what that means is that basically you're setting a certain type of goal, and similar to Kickstarter, if you hit or exceed that goal, you will then be able to keep those funds, and then the transaction fees will come in. So the payment platform fee and the transaction fee. If you don't hit or exceed that goal, all the money is refunded to the backers, and you then don't experience the fee. Okay. So again, two types: fixed versus flexible, and depending on which one you choose, fees may or may not be assessed depending on the success of the campaign. Okay. One other thing that's important here that I'm going to really just show you here, and also talk about one other thing on this video, is that if you scroll down here, you can also see that there's this thing called the in-demand program. Okay, if you go to Indiegogo's homepage and you scroll down, You can view some of the campaigns if you wanted to in the in-demand category, and you could also scroll through and kind of get a sense of that. And you could explore them up here on the upper left. I'll let you do this on your own time, right? You can look through some of these different categories and such. So the main thing is that in-demand is basically continuing to raise funds. Now, this could be from an existing campaign. You ran a successful campaign on Indiegogo, and you're just moving into in-demand, where you're continuing to raise funds for an extra 30 days or something like that, right? That happens. If that happens, you're going to be assessed the same fee as before when you were live on Indiegogo. However, if you're doing what a lot of new creators are doing these days, and I document this on my podcast, this is actually really important. I'll talk about in the Kickstarter launch formula, my book. A lot of people are running Kickstarter campaigns, and then after the campaign, they're going into Indiegogo in demand. Okay, now if that happens, it's kind of actually funny how Indiegogo words this, but if that happens, they're going to be charging you basically a higher fee. Okay, so if you ran your campaign on another platform but before joining the in-demand program, your platform fee is 8%. Because they don't like the fact that you're on another platform, I guess. But also there is some setup as well, obviously, that comes with porting your campaign over to in-demand. So if you ran it on quote unquote another platform, which almost always is Kickstarter, right? Then you are going to have to pay the 8% fee, unfortunately, when you enter the in-demand program, as well as the payment processing and potentially the transfer fee, right? If you're outside of the United States there. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. So, there are a lot of different things that come into this. And there's a lot of different nuances when it comes to these policies, but that's, I'd say, the high level overview. The only thing I wanted to show you here as well is it's really great to just go and back campaigns and to look at different projects and to see how they operate. So for example, this one, you can see it's specified, right? They have a fixed goal. So it has to hit or exceed that goal in order for this campaign to be successful. This team particularly looks like they also ran a bunch of other campaigns here, and you can look into that. I'm not being sponsored by these guys or anything like that, but they're running this campaign. If you come down here as well, you can see and you can scroll down and you can support a project here if you wanted to, right? So we're just going to pick, let's just say gray, and we'll just say silver here. I want you to see this experience, right? We're going to go continue to payments, okay? And when we enter this next page, this is going to pop up. So what would end up happening is we would say our shipping destination, let's say United States, US. Okay, so now this pops up, right? So under the shipping destination, we have to pick where we want this to go. And I'm in the United States. I'm currently in Miami, right? We'll pick United States. And what ends up happening, right? It increases the total, right? Increases the total. So this is interesting because that means that the overall funding meter is going to be going up by 118, not 98. I know it's like a little point, one of those little nitty-gritty sticking points, right? So just something to be aware of, that your shipping is going to determine as well how much the funding meter goes up. It's going to factor into payment processing fees and these other fees that we talk about. If you want to learn more about this, I have a really great free course that you can go to crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter and you can learn more about this. I also have a book out there, the Kickstarter launch formula. And also, if you want to connect one-on-one with me, I do one-on-one intensive coaching. And it's really for people that are serious, and I usually will include a link in that below in the description of this video. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that this at least cleared up a few different points here. If nothing else, my main action item for you, my main homework for you, is to go here to this URL to learn a little bit about those fees and to think about how will this impact my raise. how much do I really need to raise to make this worthwhile? What is that going to be when it comes to the percentage potentially? And how is that going to change depending on how much I raise? So you can even create a couple different projection models, I know, which is a little bit more advanced there. But that'd be my homework item for you. The only other one is to make sure you hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up. It means so much. Leave a comment. Something positive would be great. And also subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this. Again, my name is Salvador, and I will see you next time.